You are now about to start video 3 of Trauma-Informed Care training. We would like to remind you that at any time during this training, if you feel like you need to take a break or step away, please do so. You can then come back and continue where you left off. At the conclusion of this video, you will have completed Trauma-Informed Care training. You will then be given further instructions on what to do next. So far, you have learned about trauma, its effects and prevalence, how trauma can affect the staff, and now we are going to learn about trauma-informed care and how we will do it as an organization. According to the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration, there are 4 R's of trauma-informed care. So as an organization, we want to realize the widespread impact of trauma. We want to recognize the signs and symptoms in clients, families, staff, and others in the system. We want to resist re-traumatization, and we want to respond by fully integrating knowledge about trauma into policies, practices, and procedures. The 6 key principles of trauma-informed care are for you as a staff member of a trauma-informed organization. Number 1 is safety. The staff and the people we serve need to feel physically and psychologically safe. Safety can include taking into consideration the physical location, dates and times of appointments, doors being open or closed, and even the configuration of the room. Next is trust and transparency. When we experience violence or trauma, there can be a large sense of betrayal. Respecting limits and maintaining healthy boundaries can go a long way in establishing trust between coworkers, between you and a client, or between yourself and the ones you love. Being transparent about what you are recording or writing down in meetings is important to build a trusting relationship. Next, we have peer support. In this context, the term peer refers to 2 different things. First, we have individuals with lived experience of trauma. They are considered a peer. Peer is also the person that is in a similar job to you in your office. So peer support is a key vehicle in maximizing empowerment, enhancing collaboration, and serving as a model of recovery. If we have support from people who have been through trauma as part of our organization, we can make changes that will actually help these people, given their feedback and input. But peer support is also important for you as a staff member, as we discussed in self-care and burnout. 4th key thing of trauma-informed care is collaboration and mutuality. So recognizing and addressing power differentials. This is huge when we have a client walk into the office. Do they feel as though they are here for their own treatment? Or do they feel as if we are in charge and making the decisions when it comes to their life? Shared decision-making on treatment goals and approaches increases the effectiveness of those treatments. This moves people from powerlessness and vulnerability to healing and resilience. A good example of using collaboration and mutuality with your coworkers might be when you're choosing a meeting to choose a neutral location. Instead of meeting in someone's office where one person might have more power than the other, if you meet in a neutral conference room, you can really share and work together to collaborate on a project. Next, we have empowerment, voice, and choice. Trauma can leave a person feeling powerlessness and without control. Reestablishing a person's ability to make choices and determine the course of their treatment can bring a sense of safety, trust, and self-confidence. For instance, using strengths-based intervention can build resilience in our population. Having a voice in their own treatment will build their sense of power in themselves and will make them feel like they can make more choices in their life on their own. Something as simple as, where can they sit in the room? That small, simple choice might be the first time they were able to make a choice in their life. Giving people the power over their own treatment can really improve outcomes. Lastly, we have culture, history, and gender. Responding to cultural differences and valuing diversity, not only can we give gender-responsive services, but we can recognize and address historical trauma. If we can identify personal biases and limits of cultural knowledge, we can work to improve those and overcome those. The goal of the 6th key principle of trauma-informed care is for everybody to feel welcome in this organization. The 6 key principles of trauma-informed care all come together to lead to what's called a paradigm shift. This is a change in our outlook for everyday interactions with people in our office and out in the world. What you're about to watch is a video from the National Council that helps you visualize what a paradigm shift should look like to be trauma-informed.
kid, every time I'm pulling out, he's right there. Man, someone needs to talk to his parents, if they're ever at home. What is it with the traffic today? It's always, every day, this intersection's always crowded. I hate pulling out of here. I need some of these dumb roads. Oh, there's... Okay, so I'm not even here. Right. Great lady. The princess of parking. Oh, sure. Take the spot. Way to be considerate. Oh, you kidding me? Unbelievable. Oh.
Thank you, ma'am. Have a great day.
It's about time. Let's see, what do I want?
Yeah, could I add a cookie to that order?
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, no problem, only guy in the world. I'm sure you need your cookie. The world, your oyster, and he's serving your cookie.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you so much.
What can I get for you?
Yeah, I'll have a tall decaf macchiato.
Yeah, sure, no problem. Be $3.85. And it might take a few minutes here. We've got quite a line, obviously, and thanks for your patience.
Great. Yeah, great. Great for me. Winning again. Unbelievable. What? What is... What is that? What in the world? Oh, what? What am I supposed to do? How can I do anything about that? Can I even help with that? I don't.
Your copy, sir.
Oh. I can't take this anymore. I gotta get out of here.
Hey, watch it.
Sorry, so sorry.
Hey, buddy, come here.
After watching that video, I hope you get a better sense of what a paradigm shift will look like at MHMR. So now what? What are the core goals of trauma-informed care? We hope to create collaborative relationships and participation opportunities for clients and peers. We hope to conduct universal routine trauma screening. We want to use strengths-focused perspective to promote resilience. We hope to show organizational and administrative commitment to trauma-informed care. We want to develop strategies to address secondary trauma and promote self-care. And lastly, provide hope that recovery is possible. Some potential treatment issues that can cause re-traumatization that we hope U.S. staff can avoid include using seclusion or restraint or timeout practices that can isolate individuals, mislabeling client symptoms as personality rather than reactions to trauma can also cause re-traumatization. Giving treatment assignments that could humiliate clients or using a confrontational approach can potentially cause re-traumatization. as well as challenging or discounting reports of abuse or other traumatic events. And finally, being unaware that the client's traumatic history significantly affects his or her life. This can all come together to cause re-traumatization. So some strategies to prevent this. The number one thing is to help the client identify their triggers. A trigger is something that might remind a client or a coworker of something that is related to their trauma. For example, if during the traumatic event they experienced, there was a smell of cinnamon, maybe the next time they smell cinnamon, memories will come back of that traumatic event. Keeping track of those triggers that could potentially cause re-traumatization will help our clients and each other be able to build safe environments where we can all feel comfortable. The next few strategies to prevent re-traumatization include being sensitive to the needs of people who have experienced trauma, to not ignore if a client is acting out, and to avoid controlling a client's behaviors. All of these can prevent re-traumatization. Part of being a trauma-informed organization means having to discuss trauma. How do we talk to others about traumatic experiences? First, we should always use a straightforward approach and ask for consent. We always want to ask if somebody is willing to talk about their trauma, because if they are not, we have to respect that decision. If they say yes, and it is a friend or coworker, you can have a casual conversation and you use the handout, How to Manage Trauma, to talk about potential treatments that can be used to deal with trauma, ways to talk to your doctor, and even signs and symptoms to help them recognize it in themselves or others. Another option for how to talk about trauma is a more clinical resource called the Life Events Checklist. You have this handout to be able to discuss with a client, and it can avoid having a conversation about the trauma if they refuse to talk about it. This is a good way for them to fill out a piece of paper and mark off if something has happened to them, if they've witnessed something, or if it happened on the job. The CARE acronym stands for Create Safety and Support, Acknowledge Adaptive Coping, Reframe as Smart, Creative, and Resourceful, and encourage new and safer coping. So an example of how you would use this. You ask somebody about their trauma. You say, hey, I've noticed something. Do you want to talk about this? And they react negatively. They say, how dare you? You're being nosy, and this makes me really upset. You would use the CARE acronym and say, I'm sorry if I crossed a line. I'm here for you if you need it. That's the C. Your reaction is valid and understandable. That's the A. You're doing your best to deal with the cards you've been dealt. R. If you ever want to talk it out, I'll listen, and it can be cathartic. E. So what is our place in trauma-informed care? Why do we as staff matter? Every contact that we have with a client or each other will affect us in one of two ways. We will either contribute to a safe, trusting, and healing environment, or we will distract from a safe, healing, and trusting environment. We play a role in assisting our clients to make progress in their lives. But we also play a role in our coworkers and our environment. Every interaction we have, we can either make positive or make negative. And that is the thought that we want as part of the paradigm shift for trauma-informed care. We want every interaction you have, whether it be an email, a phone conversation, bumping into someone in the hall. Are you contributing to a safe environment, or are you making it worse? So you may be thinking, why are we doing trauma-informed care? As you can see from this diagram, if we start on the outside and we provide improved employee support, it can prevent burnout and compassion fatigue, which would then minimize turnover and improve patient outcomes, which would increase the rate of graduation from services and eventually save lives and money. For MHMR, trauma-informed care is focusing on that paradigm shift. We hope to promote understanding and awareness, and we want to do our best to accommodate those experiencing trauma. That is why we offer our Employee Assistance Program and FMLA. But there is also staff accountability that goes along with trauma-informed care. If you are struggling with something or feeling burnt out, work with your supervisor to find ways to get support or take time off. Trauma-informed care does not negate completing job requirements. It may be overwhelming to think of all the new changes that trauma-informed care would include. But we want to give you a chance to look at all the things you are already doing that are trauma-informed. You have been working on House Bill 13, on CCBHC status, 1115 waiver, mental health first aid, people first language, recovery-oriented systems of care, and strengths-based interventions. All these things you've already been doing that are trauma-informed. Some of our successes in trauma-informed care include enhancing physical locations, such as updating telemed offices, repainting walls in lobbies, and fixing flooring for safety. We've founded a trauma-informed care client advisory committee, which is made up of family partners, peer support specialists, and clients that are currently in services for MH and IDD. We've also partnered with outside organizations to do trauma-informed care trainings in our community. We have compiled a list of resources that can help you or others dealing with trauma. And if you would like access to these, please email tic@mhmrcv.org. As we wrap up this training, I will leave you with this quote as a final thought. They may forget what you said, but they will never forget how you made them feel. Every person here can influence how others feel in this organization, from the clients to the coworkers. Your trauma-informed care folder has all the resources you need to move forward, to remind yourself, teach others, and become trauma-informed. This concludes the third and final training video, Implementing Trauma-Informed Care. You have now completed MHMR Services of the Concho Valley's Trauma-Informed Care Training video series. We want to thank you for taking the time to watch these videos and fill out the course paperwork that was provided. We know that there was a lot of information, and we hope that it was useful. When this video ends, you will take a quiz to be certified in trauma-informed care. If you are a contractor, you will sign a certification that you have watched this entire video series. Thank you again for watching. If you have any questions or comments, we ask that you please reach out to us at our trauma-informed care email address, tic@mhmrcv.org.